Last week we brought you Mikey Maldonado, and then this week we are back. This time we are bringing you a San Antonio legend, a name that's been around the circuits for quite some time, since probably he was 17, promising MLS, a former FC Dallas Academy pro player, former San Antonio SC, Real Monarchs, and Phoenix Rising. That's right, Devin Vega. You don't want to miss this one out because Devin is going to be with us here at Soy San Antonio Football. We want to thank our sponsors at Mia's Mexican Grill for bringing this to us here at SOYSAF and to every one of us all around the soccer world as we sit down and talk about football and the great things that it does to us and where this young man is headed to. Right now, he is a member of the Puerto Rican national soccer team. That's right, Puerto Rican national soccer team. One of San Antonio's first international players. Folks, let's get the show on the road, Devin Vega.
El equipo de Bahamas y en las líneas defensivas, tratando de que no le por poco, ahí va.
Filtra la pelota, le pega muy bien ahí, señor. Venga, Vega. ¿Cómo le pegaste bien? Golazo, 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 gol. Gol.
Folks, that's right. Check it out. We got the main man himself, Devin Vega, an absolute icon that has been coming in here up and coming. One of the first soccer ballers that come out of San Antonio. Devin, welcome to Soy San Antonio Football, my friend.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, it's been a while, so good to see you and ready to see what how this thing goes.
Absolutely. You know what? It's an honor to see you, dude. We miss you for sure. There's so much to talk about. You have no idea how many fans have actually stopped and asked me, hey, man, what do you know about Devin? Look at him, and then people still follow you when you took off to Phoenix Rising, and then you were over at Real Monarchs. It seems that every time you leave, you always come back home, but people love you. People want to keep in touch with you. What I would like to do, man, let's reintroduce you to the fans, to los fieles de San Antonio, big dog. I know you're doing some big things. We're going to get into it right now with Puerto Rican, that national team, man. That's awesome. San Antonio has got their very first own international baller, dude. We want to talk about those experiences. But Devin, welcome to SOYSAF, man. Let's kick this off the road, man. 2017. Things started happening for you. I remember in our early years at Soy San Antonio Football, folks, we've been around for now 4 years, and Devin was one of those 17, 18-year-old prodigies when San Antonio had no team. Next thing you know, DV7, the 18-year-old FC Dallas Academy Pro Academy player, joins up, my man. Let's start right there.
Yeah, so I mean, coming back to San Antonio, like I said, I was at FC Dallas Academy, as people know. But I had my academy years through there, and then before that I was with the U.S. national team with the under-17s. But obviously coming back home to play for the team here it was great. It was a good start, and I was putting up goals, I was getting my assist, I was doing all that, and then like I said, it was a great experience learning from guys like Billy Forbes and Rafa Castillo and Michael Reed and guys like that. Now that, some are retired now and some, are still playing in the USL or even MLS, like Sebastian Ibiaga. Just guys like that helped me learn and helped me to be who I am today. I'm very thankful for it.
It's funny you mentioned that team. Now it's weird. Let's introduce a little bit of it, what's going on. You were part of that historic season, man. 2017, 18. It was an amazing doggone season, longest winning streak in all of North America. Nobody had that winning streak. You were part of that. But what I want to go back a little bit to your youth in San Antonio, man. What was it like for you growing up? We already heard right off the bat, this kid comes out right into San Antonio FC, tons of potential. Now, if I remember closely, you were part of that Algarve Cup over in overseas, and you were playing with guys like Weston and old boy over here and in Chelsea, the great Pulisic. And dude, talk to us. You're 15, 16 years of age, playing with the youth national team over in the Algarve Cup, which you guys, I think, won that tournament, correct?
Yeah, I think. No, you know what? We lost in the final, I believe.
That's right. Spain. Yeah. It was Spain.
Spain, yeah.
Yeah, man. So there you are with Pulisic, you go with Weston McKennie. You got all these great kids. I think, was Matt Turner part of that or no?
No, he wasn't. At that time, I think the keeper was Pulisic's cousin at the time,
That's
which
right. Yeah.
was
But
doing
you were,
well.
but you guys, that was like the beginning of great footballer. Talk to us about that experience and what that allowed you to learn even now. I mean, that must have been a learning stinking curveball for you.
Of course. I mean, getting to play in San Antonio Academy when I was younger, which was SA Scorpions at the time.
Yeah.
I had coaches like Nick Evans, and
The
I had
Godfather, the Godfather.
Madrid. I had those guys. So Nick Evans was the one that really, I could say, pushed me into that environment to get a look at with the U.S. national team. And I got to look at it, and a couple of scouts came up to him, and they came up to me. They invited me to their very last camp before that residency program started in Florida. And I did well, and I tell everybody the story. I went to that camp, and the first couple of days I was nervous because it was the best 28 guys in the whole country
Yeah, dude.
at the age of 1998. So getting that opportunity was crazy. I remember, like I said, it was real being nervous, and then it comes to the last day, and I scored 2 goals in the inter squad scrimmage, and next thing you know, that was the last camp before the residency, so they send me an email saying, "Hey, you have been invited to join the residency program," which meant that I was gonna have to leave my town here. I was gonna have to leave my parents, and only being 14, it was kind of difficult for my parents to just let me go, and but we knew it was the best opportunity that any 14-year-old could receive. And at that time, it was I got to take it, and
Yeah.
uh, Nick helped me get that opportunity, and I'm very thankful for him. Like, I try to stay in contact with him, of course. But like I said, it was a good opportunity playing with Weston. He was my roommate, Weston McKinney. And then obviously Christian was a couple rooms down. So guys that you see on TV now with really big clubs, but it was a great experience for sure.
That's been a great class. I want to talk about that 98 class. It's been amazing what you guys have done, yourself included. I mean, yeah, you see those guys doing the international right now. They're headed over to the World Cup. That's basically the World Cup we have right now.
Yep.
That squad is actually just going over to Qatar. I think we're the youngest World Cup team this year for the first time in American soccer history. We are the babies, we're the kids, they're all your age, 21, 22, 24. But you came back. Obviously, we talked about FC Dallas Pro Academy. They were not going to let you go. And I remember watching highlights of you. I was in the military when you were doing all that stuff, and I remember you seeing your name on the roster. Believe it or not, there's a funny story about that. I've never told you this, but when I was watching that on YouTube, and I had just come back home from my last tour to Afghanistan. So I remember watching that on YouTube, and I was going through these names, and I saw San Antonio, Texas, and that was pretty awesome. And hold on, my screen froze. Do you see me?
Yeah, I could see it is frozen right now.
Okay, here we're back.
Okay.
Doggone it, this thing. If it does that, don't worry, I cut it and edit. So we just continue going, don't worry about it. And so I remember watching that name, Devin Vega, San Antonio, Texas. Next thing you know, 2017, let's fast forward now. I got to see you do your tournament thing on YouTube. And then 2017, San Antonio, obviously the Scorpions win a championship. They disband, the whole league goes away. USL buys a franchise. We got into it. And then we have no team. We have no players. We have no coach. And all of a sudden, I'm going downtown San Antonio for an introduction, and out comes DV7, this 18, 17-year-old kid. Big surprise for me. So, you signed on to San Antonio FC. That was the defining moment for the academy and for progress and for what the city capacity has in this city. I want to stop there because I know you have pure love for the city. What's the talent level in this city, man, in 210? When it came down to the youth, you were the one that no high school, no nothing, U.S. men's national team, youth men's national team, and then USL straight off the bat. How good is a talent here in San Antonio, Texas, in your eyes as a pro?
Yeah, I've seen a lot. I've seen kids that are currently 17, 18 years old. So that don't get the opportunity like I had. And you know, sometimes it's luck, and sometimes it's you working hard and you getting that own opportunity for yourself. So I think, you know, I've like my dad is a coach. So for instance, I see the kids that are coming up, and it's exciting watching them. You know, you have your 10, 11 year olds, 12 year olds, 13 year olds. They're growing, man. And San Antonio has some good talent for sure. And like I said, I there's these couple of leagues I do now here in San Antonio, so I get to see these kids that, you know, don't have the money to either join a club or, you know, don't get the chance like I had, um, to express their talents and show people that, you know, there's a lot of talent here. So getting to see those guys play is really good, and there is talent here.
Man, so and that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do our best till we can find the next DV7. Now, you come to San Antonio FC. There was always tons of controversy with soccer. Let's be honest. You were here 2 years, then all of a sudden you were gone. You were at Phoenix Rising, and then you go from one historic season to another historic season with Phoenix Rising, creating the most wins in a single season, and then going straight into the USL Cup. Man, talk to us about that experience.
Man, that was and everybody's always asked what's the highlight of your career so far, and it was definitely that year because I had Drogba. You know, I played with Didier Drogba, and you know, my minutes were here and there, but you know, it was a guy. They would be like, who's in front of you, and it would be Didier Drogba. So it'd be, you know, one of those things that I didn't. It didn't matter because I got to learn. I got to get to see his last year of soccer. That was his last year, so that whole year was good. I had a good season. The games I played, we ended up changing coaches, so the next coach that we had saw things a little differently. Um, but getting to experience that year and going to the championship, being in the final, and obviously that whole group of guys was super good. I don't know if you remember, but we had Solo Asante, which is always the MVP. We had Billy Forbes at that time too, Chris Cortez, JJ Johnson,
Cortez.
yeah, Jason Johnson. We had a group, so I think getting to learn from all those guys, it helped me obviously go into the next year and with a straight head, and just to continue working hard for sure.
You know, and that work has not stopped. And soccer can be brutal. Soccer can be brutal. And you've experienced it. You've experienced the good. We talked about the good and the experiences. And you've gone through it, man. You've gone through when it comes down to soccer for sure. Let's talk about some of those low times, brother. I know you've been, I mean, 3 teams: San Antonio FC, Phoenix Rising, Real Monarchs, and then the controversy at Real Salt Lake Monarchs down over there.
Yeah.
Insane. And then next thing you know, where's Devin? So let's talk about those downtimes, because everybody wants to hear about the greatness of Devin. Let's hear about how Devin's pulled himself through so much adversity. I think so many times people have counted you out, or Devin was and never will be. And we'll get into how you are still. I love that, man. So let's talk about those things. I mean, how was it for you psychologically to continue on the trajectory? Because it's not all of flowers and roses in the game of soccer. This is your time. Talk about those bad times.
Yeah, and you know, there's a lot of good and there's a lot of bad, and I've had a lot of good and I've had a lot of bad. But if you know we're talking about the bad part, it's a lot of soccer is a game of emotions. If you're not playing, if you're not starting, you do tend to get upset. And just like I said, everybody wants to play. Everybody wants to get minutes. Everybody wants to show what they got. Everybody thinks they can do more than the guy in front of them. But it's obviously when you get that chance, how do you keep that spot, right? So I think for me, I've had an up and down year of being a pro, you know, and I've had my ups and my downs have been crazy. I've been let go of teams. I've been sat on the bench because of things that the coach believed happened, and you know that wasn't true, but it tended to, you know, I felt like after that part, you know, it let my soccer career go to a little down, and that happened at San Antonio. Um, so I think the bad is just it's kept me going because it gives me that little drive to always remember those times and how do I get back up from those times and how do I show people, you know, obviously that I can keep going. But yeah, just you know, the downs have definitely I've been down. You know, obviously not having a team, and you know, I can see guys that you know I played with just like Weston and all those guys, just like guys that I play with in the USL, and you know they still have teams. But right now, the positive I take from it is, you know, now I got beautiful kids that I can look at every single day, and I got my wife too that I can look at and just and just be happy, with those little things that come, and also think that, okay, how do I break that barrier of not having a team, and how do I get past it? So, like I said, I keep going, I keep training on my own, I keep doing these little side games that we have here in San Antonio, just to keep going and keep stay motivated, and I think that's the biggest piece, is trying to stay motivated, trying to, think you can beat the odds and all that.
How has how has Devin grown as a baller? Like, we remember, everybody, when you have an image of somebody, it's always who they were. You were DV7 the
Yeah.
kid. You were
Mhm.
DV7 the kid. Who is Devin Vega, the soccer pro player? Again, our audience already knows about your exit of San Antonio. I'm pretty sure that must have affected you mentally. Did you want to leave San Antonio?
I didn't want to leave San Antonio. It was a mutual agreement between me and Darren Powell at the time, and Tim Holt. But obviously, I wanted to stay home. I wanted to play, and to this day, I would love to play inside my hometown. But things don't go the way we want it to. But I looked at it like, at least I got a year to play here, and my family got to be here, watch me. But yeah, I love San Antonio, and I would love to come back one day and see how that goes.
And so, with that said, though, the maturity level, I mean, it's insane to see you. I've seen you over the last 4 years. It's been crazy how fast these 4 years have gone, brother. But I've seen you just slowly mature, slowly grow. And every time I hear in the circuits of soccer and journalism, um, where's Devin? All of a sudden, you pop off on the map. I
Yeah.
remember about a year and a half ago, sitting there before COVID, which we're not going to talk about because nobody wants to talk about that. But I remember 2019, sitting there, and then all of a sudden on Twitter, doing my journalism duty, I see Puerto Rico. And I see your name. I said, there's
Yes.
no way in hell this guy's going to Puerto Rico. He's a
Yeah.
U.S. men's national team. So you go through all these teams in and out of USL circuits, and then you get an international call up. You're the first 210 player, male, to be called up to any international level in two different countries, United States as a youth, and then men's
Yeah.
professional Puerto Rican national team. It's not over. People counted you out for the longest time because they didn't see your face or hear your
Yeah.
name, but the whole time you were still progressing. So how
Yeah.
has that, before we get into you going to Puerto Rico, Devin, the soccer player today, man, he's no longer the kid. What would you say Devin is right now?
Me, for instance, is just trying to be who I really am. It's just, I don't want people to view me as a bad person or a bad player. I think I started my career really young, so
Yeah.
for me, is I knew I had a lot of growing up to do, whether that was um, outside of soccer, inside of soccer, and I had guys that showed me, hey, this is the right way to do things, and this is the wrong way. So if you don't want to catch a coach see you with your head down, or see you, mad because you're not playing. So I think, obviously, the player I am now, the person I am now, is obviously learning from my mistakes. Obviously, there's going to be days where they're going to be bad, and there's going to be days where you're going to have good days, and that's something you got to take in as a pro, is you're not always going to be happy, whether it's always going to be the coach's decision, whether you think you're better than that guy or not. I think for me, is that's the one thing I needed to learn, and that's what I'm different at now, is accepting what it is and trying to just keep bettering myself for not only me but everybody around me that believes in me.
That's some heavy, heavy, heavy advice. On that
Yeah.
advice, we have a lot of young ballers. If you've
Mhm.
been seeing what's been going on in the high school circuits, San
Yeah.
Antonio Lee, we finally
Mhm.
have a state champion after who knows how many years of going, without nothing. You have it now, Harlan Hawks, you got Reagan Rattlers, you got the Johnson boys
Yeah.
dominating in soccer. To the young baller that's listening to right now, jumping on that advice, what do you want to tell that 16, 17-year-old kid, even that 15-year-old freshman coming in, man? What is the biggest advice you want to tell these young kids from your experience?
Yeah. Obviously, it's not easy. You're some make it, some don't, and college might be your route. You might be done after high school. You might get that chance to go pro. So I think just keeping that mentality of just keep going, whether you think it's over or not, it's not over. That just believe in yourself. As long as you believe in yourself, you can achieve anything. And for me is I had to enjoy myself. I had to love myself. I had to make sure my game was the way I wanted it, because I always let people tell me, "Oh, do play like this or play like that." But obviously, me being young was the way I went to places was because of how they saw me. So if somebody tried to coach me and tell me that play this way, it was kind of difficult. So I think just be yourself, man. Like just continue to be who you are, and wherever soccer takes you is going to be your path. And just to when you're on that road, to take advantage of any opportunity you get.
You know, that's awesome. I think there's so many folks that are going to start listening to that. And I hope if you're listening to this SOYSAF family, that is some of the most sound advice I could have ever heard from a pro player to the young. And I think any pro player could tell you the exact same thing. Thank you so much for that. Devin, let's jump now today. You are currently part of the Puerto Rican national team. You mentioned yourself, you're playing around some leagues around the city in San Antonio. You've won a couple of trophies here and there, and
Yeah,
you're training and training and training. How did this Puerto Rican international call up come about? And I mean, you're playing, you're scoring goals, you got minutes, assists,
yeah.
you're trying to get them out of the Caribbean League. It's all you, bud.
Yeah. So I mean, Puerto Rico has been calling me since I was 15 or 14 or 15 years old.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
I was at FC Dallas, but at that time I was with the United States. So in my head, I was like, you know what, this is the best path for me at the moment, and I think everybody would agree with that as well. So I think getting that chance of being able to play with USA and under in my youth is one of the best experience I've ever had in my path. But obviously the Puerto Rican team is now, and that's who I currently am with now. I made my caps. I've played against Guatemala. I've played against Honduras. I've played against a lot of teams. So Dominican Republic, and they're only growing, And I always tell everybody this. I went to my first camp in Puerto Rico, and I was like, "What is this?" There was staff that I asked for a small jersey and they gave me an extra large. So
I
it's
love it.
it's grown a lot. Now we have the head coach Dave Sarachan, which was the ex men's national team coach. So now that he's there, he's got it all set. It's an amazing place to be for sure, and it's only going to get better. It's only growing. We've almost qualified to the next round of the World Cup qualifiers, but we got I think second or third in our group. Maybe like 2 points away from playing El Salvador to go into the qualifiers with USA and all them. So and Mexico. So it's been a good experience going over there. It's a beautiful little country, and it's doing well. So we're continuing to try to be better and the best we can be for Puerto Rico.
You know, I love that, man. You're so passionate about your roots, especially San Antonio and Puerto Rico. I know the background is there from your dual nationality, and that's incredible. I mean, these are the things that we need to start talking about here in San Antonio. We need to bring up conversation as to the success of so many players. I mean, for the longest time, San Antonio was known for nothing. Really no soccer. Everybody knew American football. They knew the Malcolm Browns and the NFL players, but they never knew soccer. And you're one of these young ones. And I guarantee you, these new kids that are coming out, this new crop. There's a kid named Jathan. I mean, I'm pretty sure you heard about Jathan down at Dynamo. That kid is gonna do something down there in Dynamo. But now you're over here. You're training hard. You got a family. Talk to me about family life, man. Now you are Devin, the husband, Devin, the dad, man.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's been good. I have a 1 and 2 year old that are going to be 2 and 3 next month or this month. Sorry, in 2 weeks. So it's great being a dad. It's just you're never ready. You never know what to expect, and they teach me a lot. I wake up every morning with thankful that I wake up right next to them. So getting to be a dad to them is amazing, and being a husband as well. It's good. I love it. Just trying to take care of them and make sure everything's taken care of as best as I can do it. Obviously, I want to put them in an environment where they can see where I'm playing at, my kids and wife, and see, be happy, because I was in that environment when I was young and it was good. But I want to have that environment where they can see me grow as a person and a player, and put a jersey back on. And they luckily when I go to Puerto Rico, they always go and cheer me on, and it's the best feeling ever. So obviously getting a club and working towards that again and having them see me play would be really, really, really special.
You know, I love that, dude. I love to hear that part. Now, sticking with the theme of family, your dad, David, amazing
Yeah,
guy. He's doing some amazing work with SI City ECNL. The kids, man, he has a passion for just the micro soccer kids, the little
yeah,
ones. And in that story, man, it is a Cancer Awareness Month this month of October. You have a little warrior in your family. Good
yeah.
old Dylan. Talk to us about your brother, folks. If you don't know anything about this kid, we're gonna Devin, this is your time. Talk about how has your brother inspired you? He's a survivor, he's growing. We have him here still, brother. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, man. I was at FC Dallas Academy when I heard that he had got cancer, and it was right before GA Cup final.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it was hard to take in. It was hard to accept the fact that one of my family member, my brother, had cancer. So, um, how did I accept it? How did I move on from it? It was difficult, especially being away from them. It was a 5 hour drive from Dallas to San Antonio, so I couldn't make it. I didn't have a car. I didn't have, if I wanted to see him, it was on FaceTime, and just trying to be there with him as much as I could. And obviously, him being so young, it hurt me because what could I do? And I wanted to be there. I wanted to be there with him, obviously, but I knew I had to keep going at where I was at. My parents wanted me to keep going, and they told me, look, we have him here, so we're going to take care of him and hope the doctors do whatever they can to make sure he's doing okay and he's going to be all right. So that whole experience was shocking. It came out of nowhere. I hadn't heard from my parents for a while, and I was like, what's going on? So and they knew they would always call me before big games. It would, and I was like, why aren't they calling me today? Why aren't they asking about, you know how are you ready for the final? Are you ready, to play? Are you ready to score or whatever? So I knew something was up. I just didn't know what was going on. So whenever my sister had called me, and I still remember, I was sitting at home I was resting for that final, and I heard, and I broke down, man. It's just
Yeah,
as a
yeah.
player, it's a different feeling. So and luckily to this day he's doing really well. He's a kid now. He's all about how he dresses and how he looks. He's doing well, and not a lot of people know. And but the close people to me know, and they know that it wasn't easy for me, obviously. And in that time of my life, it was do I choose soccer or do I just go back
Yeah,
home and see where it goes?
yeah.
And I think I made the right decision as far as staying and continuing to play for FC Dallas. And luckily, with God, anything's possible. So he made everything possible. He's doing well, and yeah, he's doing good.
And yeah, we are absolutely happy that Dylan is doing amazing, that he's still here with us. Um, but there was one big anchor in that family with that whole situation, and that was your dad, David Vega. A lot of folks do that are new to the city. Let's be honest, San Antonio's grown immensely, but your dad's been around the soccer circuits for quite some time, and currently, right now, he's with San Antonio's newest classic elite developmental program, SA City, San Antonio City. He's out there coaching the little ones, man. He's always had a massive heart for youth development. I know he was one of your first coaches. And he's been there for you. He's coached so many other kids. Jillian Martinez, female, male and female. Jillian Martinez was one of them. She's now at Tech. That's one big name that comes to mind. I remember him telling me one time, he's like, dude, that little girl, Jillian Martinez, she'd go up against all the boys and whoop them. And that's how I found out about JM, who is now at Tech. Talk to us about your father, the big influence that he's been. Again, he was way even before the Scorpion days. What was it, the Hammerheads, or who was that around back then?
Hammers.
The
Yeah.
Hammers, yeah, the Hammers, and he was part of that group there. And then the San Antonio Scorpions, where obviously you got into that academy there with Nick Evans, and then he got you, supporting you through the FC Dallas process, and now here. Talk to us a little bit about David and what you see over at SA City as part of the newest Classic Elites Youth Development Program.
Of course, yeah. To start with my dad, one of my biggest supporters when it came to soccer. He's always been there with me through the good and the bad. He's always given me advice to keep me going, and he saw a lot of my difficult moments. He saw when I wanted to just give up, and he always was my backbone of always having me continue to keep working and to keep going, and that's I think as a dad, I look at my little one and I want the same for him and my daughter. I want them to just believe when they get a sport. I want them to stick with it. I want them to keep going. Unless they just want to call it off, I'll let them. So I think as a dad, he did the right thing when it came to soccer and always supported me. He got me the trainers I needed to make me better, and he was always doing everything he could just for me to keep going in soccer. And to this day, he wants me to pursue and just keep going and to follow the dream that he saw when I was young too. And he's doing well. He's a coach now at SA City, which is a new club out in San Antonio that I'm not sure exactly how long they've been here for, but it's super good, And there's days that I go out there and watch his training sessions, and I speak my advice too. And sometimes he'll take it as a positive, and sometimes he'll be like, "Oh, just get away," and he wants to do his own thing. So I think for me is to getting to watch him do what he loves, and that's what he loves to do. He's always loved to teach the youth and to help them grow. And it's good, He has a good team. He now coaches my little sister Sierra, which
Oh,
is so she's on the come up, coming soon. So with her is that's his next prodigy. He always likes to say. So with him, he's all about soccer. So to have him as a dad and to support me, it's been amazing.
it's incredible. I remember meeting your dad one time, and just the charisma this man's got, and the passion and the knowledge for the game. Um, Especially like I said, I mean, in the youth, you don't really find coaches like that, and it's crazy because, yeah, he's your dad, but I mean, you talk about him like the coach, and it wasn't one of those. How do I put this? Living your dreams through your kids.
Yeah,
He's not that guy. He's like, all right, I'm gonna show him what I know, my passions. If he wants it, he wants it. He doesn't, he doesn't. So, I think that's an amazing, freaking amazing upbringing. What do you think? I'm transitioning now a little bit. What's your opinion on the youth level and the academies? San Antonio right now has got so many academies. I mean, when you were growing up, there was just classic elites, correct? That was it. And now
I
you
like
got what
her as
Juven.
well. You know, it's they kind of gone away too.
Yeah, and but now you got what Juventus, Classic Elites, SA City, Alamo City, down in the South, Tigrillo's Academy, and then Tapatio's Academy over in the Southwest. What's your thought on all of this that's going on currently? Literally in the last 4 years, just boom.
Yeah, I mean, I take it as I think it's good. I think it gives more kids opportunities if some can't make it all the way on the other side of town, that they have a team near them. And I think Tapatio's it was one of the clubs that I wasn't aware of, but I play with them out here in some of these leagues. So to get to see them grow a little academy and help the kids that there's some kids that their parents can't afford it, and there's kids that can't afford it. So I think it's helping a lot of people with those financial standpoints, as far as kids that can't afford it be able to play, and it's giving those kids the dream to keep going and at least get to play those little academy games and playing against other good academies and stuff like that. So I think it's helping the community a lot, in my opinion. People may think otherwise, but I think it at least gives everybody a chance to at least play and at least enjoy the game while they can.
I like that what you mentioned, that the other side of San Antonio, the one that nobody ever goes to, the south side, the poor
Yeah,
side, right? And let's be honest, let's just be very transparent. I mean, it is what it is.
yeah,
Socially, demographically, it is the poorest region in San Antonio,
yeah,
and it's the largest region in San Antonio. So for a kid growing up in the South Side, there's no chance unless they talk to Urban Champions Academy. Devin, if we're talking about academies, we can't forget about one of the big major factors down there, being led by the former mayor Ed Garza and James Hope, doing an amazing work with those kids down there. They've given out so many scholarships. I know this year with college. I've seen so many of their kids, underprivileged kids that would never have a chance, get a shot to go play at Our Lady of the Lake, known as OLU, and now San Antonio's newest university NAIA team, Texas A&M San Antonio, Tamusa. So you have Tapatíos and Urban Champions Academy, which are not pay to play. And they're doing a daunting task, really taking it upon themselves to really give these kids an opportunity for these kids, underprivileged, sometimes immigrant kids, to just get a chance to play at the next level. So yeah, I mean, there's so much academies play. It worries me sometimes that it might be thinning out the herd. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, and I get that. Yeah, I get that definitely.
So when it comes down to you, and I know back then when you were growing up as a kid, it was just basically, hey, this is how it was. This is where you went. With the options nowadays, is that in your, I mean, as a baller, dude, is that a good or a bad thing?
I mean, it could be good and it could be bad. You know, as a kid that doesn't know where to go, at least he has all these other clubs to look at and see where he can at least try to go. With at least with me, it was you have one or two clubs and that's all. You know, and if you didn't make that club, well, and if you didn't make that club, then where do you go? So at least having all these options where, in my opinion, I think having more options is always better. But I mean, with whenever I was playing in that youth, it was you'd have your small teams here and there, and if you weren't good enough, you know, where do you go? So, like I said, I think it is a good thing, but it could be a bad thing in my opinion. So
No, I agree 100%. It concerns me as an avid soccer fan. I just want the best for the youth. Devin, you know what? It's been an awesome time, a pleasure talking to you, getting to know where you are currently right now. As far as I know, you've been training hard for the Puerto Rican national team, man. And as you mentioned, it's been an amazing experience for you playing against like Nicaragua and Honduras and the Caribbean teams. It's awesome to see you from San Antonio, Texas, to be crushing it. Any last words for your beloved city for the 210?
yeah, I mean, obviously, I love 2-0. I love uh, the energy it has here. I love the soccer it has here with San Antonio FC, and I love just being here. You know, it's where all my family grew up. It's where I grew up. I did grow up on the southeast side, so it's not the best, but now I live over here in Live Oak area, so I've gotten away from it a bit. So
Nice.
it's good being in the area. It's good being back home as I could, because I've always been away with soccer. I was in Phoenix, I was in Utah, been over Puerto Rico. I've been all over the place. So to be back here and have my family, kids, and everybody around me, it feels good for sure.
You know what, man? I do not doubt. And if you're listening to me, quote me on this later on. There's no doubt in my brain that I'm going to see you in a pro uniform here in Central Texas very soon. It's just impossible to just not see you, and or any coach right now to be looking at you and say, "Yo, we got an international local kid playing at an international level. We got to bring him home." I mean, look, Maxi Rodriguez crushing it out there in the D town. So is Pato Botello crushing it out there. So
You're doing well.
they're doing great. I mean, they got their team in playoffs in their first year, something San Antonio FC never did until you guys, revamped that second year. But you know what? I'm gonna see you there. You're not fooling me, man. I'm telling you, folks. And if you're watching this, quote me. I'm gonna see this kid in a uniform. I don't know if it's gonna be a USL or major. I'm gonna see this kid in uniform, and I'm gonna be so happy that finally San Antonio, the city's got a pro athlete in those circuits back in there. I would love to have more hometown players in our city. But two last things, Devin, before we go. Is this the year for San Antonio FC?
I hope so. I do. I love the team, and regardless of what happened to me in the past, I wish I'm the best. And yeah, things didn't work out for me, but it's not always about me. It's how the team's doing now, and they're doing really well. I have a couple friends on there now, so I wish them the best. Is it the year? I'm not sure, but I thought it was last year, and then things. So, I'm not gonna say yes or no, but I hope they do well. Going into playoffs, they've done really well in the regular season. And I went out to a few games this season, so getting a chance to wish them well and I hope they do end up winning it for once, you know, and Alan Marcina gets the credit he deserves. And just I hope they do well.
Absolutely, same here. I am overdue. I mean, last year, I don't know if you were there, but before they went to go play OC, that last home game was the most perfect soccer environment in San Antonio history. I love you, dude. I love what you did in 2017, but what these guys have done over the last year has been incredible. I'm gonna say it's finally, this is it. I don't want to talk about it, but I think this is it. I mean, these guys are just up here, and we talked about adversities and everything up here, mentality, emotionally, in their hearts. They got it. And I pray to God, to the soccer gods, that we finally get this trophy in a deserving city as it is in San Antonio. Devin, we love you, buddy. Thank you so much for being here at Soy San Antonio Football. We want to thank our sponsors, Mia's Mexican Grill out there in 1604. Get your World Cup watch. And I'm telling you, Devin, if you want some banging barbacoa, my man, go hit them up. Look, 20% off for veterans. They're so veteran friendly. It's every day. It's not just on certain days. Veteran discount on their food every day, Devin.
Of course. Yeah, shout out to them, of course. And I'll be definitely checking y'all out.
Absolutely, Devin. We love you, man. We wish you the best. What's next? Puerto Rico?
Yeah, Puerto Rico, and hopefully some options come up after that. But like I said, I'm being patient and hoping for the best. But in the meantime, enjoying my family while I can, watching my kids grow, and being near my family, my dad, my mom, sisters, brothers. But anything that pops up, I'm gonna take 100%. And you know, I hope everybody watching, you know, you support me like you have been, and I believe in myself. So I'll continue to just keep going.
The original hometown boy, the original 210 soccer prodigy, Devin Vega. Thanks for being here for SOYSAF. Stay tuned for more. I got you guys 3 major athletes coming on up. Devin, don't miss these podcasts. You're going to be fired, my man. Keep it going. We will see you around. Puro football, puro San Antonio.
Thank you, my man.
Oh, McCarthy, easy work. Gets as far as Blackman. Sends this across. Jason Johnson. Vega! Devin Vega won't be celebrating against his hometown